So many people are saying so many things. So MadMan presents what the are they saying?
Now, this is something that everybody wants to know, and it is how to take the right decision every single time, right? So, let's look at what is a decision. So, decision is the choice of action out of many choices for a certain end result, right? So, let's assume that you're in a position to take a decision, right? So, at any given moment, when you're in a position to take a decision, you have two choices. One, you completely rely on your information, which is to say that you do not seek any outside information, but you completely rely on the information that you have up until that moment of time. The second, you seek outside information, which is to say you rely on information outside of yourself. That could be watching a YouTube video or asking a friend or just watching something on the internet or whatever it may be. Because usually there are people who do not like to seek outside information. They just completely take the decision by themselves without seeking any outside help. Now, on the contrary, there are also people who don't like to take decisions themselves, but they like to seek advice from other people or seek outside sources. But in both the cases, this is the main thing. In both the cases, there is no way that you can know if the decision is going to turn out right or wrong. And there is no way to know if the decision that you're taking is going to turn out right or wrong. Now, obviously, always gathering more information on whatever it is that you're going to decide is beneficial, but it also depends on what kind of person you are. So, the main thing is at the time of taking the decision, there is no way to know if the decision is going to turn out right or wrong. So, if the decision turns out right, then brilliant. If the decision does not turn out right, then you do not spend any time on criticizing other people, on self loathing, or feeling bad, right? You do not waste any time on these, but instead invest those time to decide how to take right decision again, which is to say that accept that your decision has turned out wrong, and from that position you work on taking another decision to make the situation the way you want it to be. So once an extremely successful businessman was asked, how do you take decisions? And he said, the key is not taking the right decision, because you always take decisions best to your ability. But the key is, if the decision has turned out wrong, then you do not let your ego come up and stop you from admitting that the decision that you have taken has turned out wrong. Because obviously it happens a lot of times that we take some decisions, and then since the decision is taken by us, we do not like to admit that the decision has turned out wrong. We always like to kind of point out at some other people as to why the decision turned out wrong, and it was not your fault, right? Because usually if the decision turns out wrong, we do not like to admit because our ego is too big. So, coming to the conclusion, at the time of taking the decision, you have no way to know that the decision is going to turn out right or wrong. So, if the decision turns out right, brilliant. If the decision does not turn out right, then do not spend any time on criticizing other people or criticizing yourselves, self loathing, or feeling bad about the situation. Just accept, just admit that your decision has turned out wrong. Don't let your ego come up and stop you from admitting that, from accepting that. And after that has been accepted, work on taking another decision to make the situation as you want it to be. So the main thing is not to take the right decision, because you cannot do that. You cannot know if the decision is going to turn out right. But if the decision turns out wrong, then right away start working on how to make the situation the way you want it to be by accepting that your initial decision has turned out wrong. So, having said that, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your love and support. If you want to buy helpful books, go to www.hellomadman.com. And if you're a football fan, then just go to the Clubhouse link below to join the live commentary done by MadMan. Thank you and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.